So we got a new law in the books, Reba's Law. Reba's Law. Reba is an English bulldog that was left sealed in a plastic container until Reba passed away. And now motivated by, lack of punishment and recent acts here in town. There was recently a viral dog that was thrown into a dumpster. Not a viral dog.
A video that went viral.
Yep. There was a video of a dog.
Went viral.
Yep, where the dog was thrown into a dumpster.
As opposed to an infected dog viral. Yeah.
So there was a video of a dog that went viral.
Right.
That was a Chihuahua. They caught the guy because of the local, impact it had on the community. The people were sharing the videos. Now Governor Lombardo does the governor do the law, or how does this work?
No, so he signs the law.
Okay.
So the legislature, they're going to pass the law, and then the governor will sign it, or he'll veto it. One of the two.
Gotcha. So day after Reba's Law, what's the difference of the day before Reba's Law?
Okay, so let's take a step back and let's talk about animals and the way the law deals with animals. So if we go back to like the 1800s, we're going to see that animals are considered chattel. So chattel is an Old English word for property, which is derived from the word cattle. So the idea is that by default, the law considers animals to be property, and the owner could do anything they want to. They could do anything to property. So the law, for the longest time, said the same thing about animals, including pets. And then over time, over decades, and we've become a lot more animal conscious. Yeah. And especially now that we all have, so many people have pets and dogs, and now that we've, delousing is a thing where we've actually gotten rid of like the fleas and we can actually bring the dogs inside. People tend to think of dogs as family, and that's becoming more and more common. Yeah. And it's, people are spending just a ton of money on dogs, and pets in general. But that also means that we're becoming more attached to them. And so over time, we've decided as a society, as a community, and certainly in the state of Nevada, but it's prevalent in most states, where we're going to have to start implementing animal cruelty laws, where even though the owner owns it, even though it is legally chattel, it's their property, we are going to control sort of the outer limits of what they can do with their property. And in this case, it's cruelty. Yep. And so Reba's Law comes in because although we have animal cruelty on the books already, it alters it and strengthens it. So one of the things it does is it heightens the penalties for repeat animal cruelty, and it actually allows the court to order psychological examinations of the humans. There are just stronger penalties. The other thing that it does is, over the years of my practice, people have asked me what to do if they see an animal in a car, right, in the summer. Right. Yeah. And there's actually a big misunderstanding on what's allowed. So the law, 2 weeks ago, and the law today, so Reba's Law has not changed this part. Okay. It is illegal to leave your dog in a parked or standing car, and standing means it's on, if it is unsafe for the animal. Okay. Okay, now I want to be clear. That means it is legal to leave your dog in the car when it is safe for the animal. So, situation we've all seen on a viral video from anywhere in the world. Every summer they pop up. Crowd surrounded around a car, dog in the car, someone breaks the window, pulls the dog out. Right. And, in July and August, totally makes sense. And, more months than that. But you also have these situations where it's, like October in Nevada, it's 60 degrees outside. Yeah. Dog is fine. Well, my car has a dog mode. Okay, cool. Right? So you do it on your phone, you do it on the screen. We're going to talk about dog mode here in a second. Okay, because there was just something recently that happened where there was a car with the dog inside in dog mode or whatever it's called, and
someone still broke the window out and pulled the dog out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about dog mode in a second. Okay. But it's perfectly safe out. It's good temperature.
Yeah.
It's like 7 o'clock in the evening. The sun's going down at 60 degrees. There's no worry about extreme cold. There's no worry about extreme heat. And you'll have somebody come in and be offended that a dog has been left in the car, right? Because they think it's illegal to leave the dog in the car. It was and is perfectly legal to leave the dog unattended in the car, so long as the conditions are not hazardous for the animal. And that hasn't changed. So it's legal if it's not hazardous. It is illegal if it is hazardous.
I think that's a big misunderstanding with the public. And
Big
I think
misunderstanding.
That's a big thing to drive home is like, look, you're only reading the headline, like which most people do. Mm-hmm. The details are in the rest of it, like you said, if it's safe
Right.
or not hazardous.
Exactly. So now, before you couldn't like break the window and get it out. You could call law enforcement, but if you break somebody's chattel, the car, to go rescue somebody's chattel, the animal, you're going to be responsible for the damage you do. Now it's changed. Okay. So if a person reasonably believes, and that's the key, reasonably believes that the situation is dangerous for the animal, and whenever we say reasonably believes, it always means two things. It means that person actually has a sincere belief, and if we replace that person with a normal rational person, then that rational person would also have the belief that this animal is in danger either because of extreme heat or extreme cold or some other, serious, significantly risky condition. Then that person is allowed, after they call law enforcement, they have to call 911 first, to then do whatever is reasonably necessary to get the animal out of the car after making the determination that the car is locked. Okay, so that means
there's a lot of steps in there.
There are some steps. You cannot just carry a hammer around and start smashing windows. You have to, one, verify that it's a hazardous condition, meaning if it's 60-degree weather, don't go breaking any windows.
Yep.
2, you have to call law enforcement. And 3, you have to verify that you cannot just get into the car by opening the doors. And once you've done those 3 things, the law will justify you and protect you if you use... What's that? Is there a 4th?
Yeah, you have to cooperate with responding officials as well. So you can't just take it and go.
And there's a 4th requirement that you have to cooperate with responding officials. So
civil stuff, criminal stuff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you get the wrong cop investigating that, and he may ticket you. He may, I don't know what the penalties are. It's probably misdemeanor penalties, but and you'll be civilly liable. But if you follow the law and you do those 4 things, you verify it's dangerous condition, you call authorities, you verify you can't open the doors, and you cooperate with authorities, at that point you can break open the glass without any worry about
repercussions,
criminal or civil repercussions.
Gotcha.
And then you can keep the dog or the animal until the authorities come.
So it's not just call 911, push send, throw the phone away, break the window, and now you have a free dog.
Right.
That's, I think, a lot of people, it's going to come live with me.
No, that is not.
And that's the other thing I think that's a big misunderstanding, that here's my dog now.
Right.
You made a mistake, I now have this dog.
Well, and what may very well happen is that's going to be taken to the authorities, who then will either put it in an animal shelter or the law allows them to humanely destroy the animal. Right.
Yeah,
I know. That's always the catch-22 is you do all, could you imagine how horrible you'd feel? You are trying to rescue this animal, and you find out later that the end result of you rescuing the animal is
it's euthanized.
Yeah, it's humanely destroyed. That would suck.
Yeah, there was just on the other side of that, there was another one just recently where it was here in town, and the person videotaped the dog in a kennel in the middle of the yard, and they videotaped it for a while. Right. Didn't interfere at all, and then the dog died. And you know what I mean? But that dog is now dead. This was recently, within the last month.
Right, okay.
And I think that might have been the one, there was the viral, video, the one that went into the dumpster, and then this one just went on, and, we see it all in the group, and we hear a lot. The trimmed fat of what's left in the group is after a lot of stuff has been deleted. And I wish people could just stick to their, just make a nice post and not, because a lot of it is agreeable stuff. But when you do all the profanities and all there's a lot of add-ons that get stuff removed.
Right.
But we see all that, and this last one with the dog that was, I believe it was a French bulldog that was just left in this kennel in the middle of the yard and it died, and there was a video and that video has gone, viral as well. Right after that is when Reba's Law came into effect. So I think that might have had something to do with it.
There's a lot of pressure, right? And you have the legislature who they go to Carson City because they're supposed to pass laws, right? I mean, that's why we elect them. So they're going to try to figure out the laws that they want to pass that meet their agenda. This one, it fits the bill because
I like it. I mean, it works. It helps. It's helpful. It's another helpful step.
I have my dog.
Yeah.
I feel strongly about, not being cruel to animals. I mean, it is always that balance, and that is always hard for the legislatures. Where do you find that balance? Because at the end of the day, I know people don't want to hear this, but my dog is my property. Mm-hmm. And while I may be, I love my dog. I treat my dog, I think very, very well. Definitely better than my parents treated our pets, and they were not cruel to our pets. It's just
the way things have gone.
That dog gets a special treatment. But, at what point do I have the right to come in and say, I don't like the way you're treating your dog?
Correct.
Because that's not my property, that's your property. And so, it's that balance that the legislature is trying to find.
And there's cultural differences too.
Totally.
And even regional differences where, some people don't grow up in the city and dogs are more working animals and they don't take their dogs to the vet for everything. And, you have like the old Yeller days, like just put the dog down behind the shed, like there's those people, and there's that as well. And sometimes those people move into the city and don't understand that, there's these designer dogs and there's all this other stuff. And,
right. And that's the question also is who decides, at what level does it become cruelty? At what level does it become abuse? Because, where I think everybody would tend to agree that if you're keeping the dog in a cage, you're not feeding it, you're not watering it, or you're beating it, you're not cleaning. Yeah, that's. I think vast majority of people find that to be cruelty. But, there are some people that will say yelling at your dog is cruel.
Yeah.
And so whose judgment are we going to use? And that's always also another question. So let's talk about dog mode.
Yes.
So dog mode, I assume the idea is it's safe to leave the dog because it's going to be air conditioned.
Windows automatically vent.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be probably some temperature measure in there that if it reaches a certain temperature.
With the climate control, it levels it out.
It keeps the animal safe.
Yeah.
I love the concept of dog mode. The question is, how does that play into that statute? Because you can't leave the dog in the car for a standing car. That means, again, the engine's on. If it poses risk to the dog, and I think you could very easily make the argument that it poses no risk to the dog because it is dog mode.
Yep.
But then what about the person who then looks at, is looking to rescue the dog, does not understand dog mode, and does that person then have a reasonable belief that breaking open your window is okay?
So in dog mode, on the gigantic screen, it says this vehicle is in dog mode. It gives but again, you'd be looking at the, and you could overlook that. This the Tesla.
The Tesla, okay.
So you could look at the screen, and it even gives a readout of the temperature inside the car. In big bold letters, it says the car's in dog mode. I think it's called dog mode, but whatever it is, it's displayed, and that was the thing. There's a recent case about it. I don't know if you could pull it up, but we could look. I mean, I'm not sure if it was Nevada. I know it for sure. It just happened, because we were like, wow, that's crazy. And the person goes, well, I didn't know about dog mode.
Sure. So I think that probably qualifies as not a crime, like for you, under the subsection 1 of that statute, because it's not in an unsafe condition, notwithstanding the heat. I think that's how a judge would probably read it. But then I think it may very well be reasonable. I think a judge would say, well, how did they know? They're expected to inspect your console reading before. And maybe, or though, maybe get a judge that does say that. I don't know. That's...
It's tough with all this smart technology and AI technology. If you miss a week, you're like in the Stone Age now. You know what I mean? Like dog mode for me, I didn't know about it for a long, now it's just there. So that's Reba's Law. Thanks for tuning in on that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment. We'll try to get them addressed for you, Jared. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think it's new, and I think we're going to see a difference in cases, and now we'll try to monitor it and do an update video later on.
Yep, sounds great.
If we can. Thank you, guys.